What? You could play almost anything. I mean, this is Gary Kasparov.
Well, first of all, two quick things. First, along with what Michael Volvo has suggested of what Gary Kasparov's overall strategy was for the match, I think also Gary was trying to get into endgames. The next thing is let's accept Gary at his word. That game two shook him up so badly that he didn't seem to get control of his emotions thereafter. I don't know how he was sleeping, what have you, but one thing's for very, very, very sure. That loss was more than a loss. It devastated him. It set the tone of the match. He questioned the hand of God, the intervention. He wouldn't let it up. You saw him very stubbornly cling to it throughout the press conference. So yeah, he was very emotionally disturbed. And,
but Yasser, you've played matches against very strong players.
Of course.
Do you allow yourself to get that upset about anything?
Yeah, I was about to ask that question in the sense of why is it that when the machine does it, it's so much more unnerving? It's not like, you know, if you lose to one of your buddies, you might get upset, but you think, okay, tomorrow I'm going to take care of you. But in this case, it's like somehow it beat him, and now it seems like some kind of unstoppable force. And why is it such a ghost almost, you know?
Well, in this case, Gary clearly acted unprofessionally when he allowed his emotions to get the better part of him. I mean, as a professional, he's been challenged in incredibly tense positions, tense situations, I should rather say, and he's resolved them advantageously. He's won virtually every challenge he's ever faced with this exception. So for him to allow this to distract him from the game was a very unprofessional, unwise thing that happened. And I can say for myself, I'm stunned that he allowed it to take over the match for him.
Well, we would sincerely like to apologize. The Deep Blue team, in fact, is not going to come. For whatever reasons, they've decided not to come on stage. We would like to thank you again for coming.
Shall we take one or two questions from our audience?
And ask some further questions. We will address those.
We'll take two.
And we'll just take a couple of questions.
And then we'll let you all get going.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sir, this is mainly towards you. You made a comment very early after the match was over that you're surprised at the computer winning and you didn't expect it. You didn't think computers were ready. And I'm surprised by the whole commentary about, I mean, obviously with Gary's statements and everything, but when you have computers been around since 1946,
right, and
the fact that they have programmed this with ultimate skill, using grandmasters and the funds and the ability by which computers have today, to me, it is not surprising at all. It is only a question of time, and the time happened to be now. Humans make mistakes, and computers don't make mistakes. They will make only mistakes if what they were programmed are mistakes. So the fact that they can analyze so many more ply and so many more moves ahead of what any one human being can do, it's really not all that surprising. Now, having said that, allow me just to say one more thing. I don't believe that this has to be taken as a serious blow to mankind, because time has just come for this to happen. It's an event. It's a very exciting event, but the fact is that a human isn't facing another human who might be able to make a mistake. And I think that's all it is. It's just a great event.
Well, I will just say that I agree with you. The computer is ingenious. But the question is, has the time come? I think the time was coming. I think it shouldn't have arrived. The point that I'm trying to make is that Gary's a better chess player than Deep Blue is, and that he lost control of himself during the match. He allowed himself to get disturbed, and he was very, very poorly prepared. And, yeah, I think that there are a lot of other players in the world that could beat Deep Blue today. So I'm just saying that, yes, we know it's coming from 1946 onwards. It shouldn't have arrived this early. This is an early birth. Question there, yes. So this will be our last question, and we'll thank you.
How did the 6-game format come to arise? because obviously Gary wasn't pleased with, he wants Deep Blue to play competitive chess, and I guess it's 10 games or 20 games, or first to 10 points. How did 6 games come about to be the point?
This was part of the negotiations between IBM and Gary. This was last year's format. They just repeated it this year. I don't know the inside story why 6 was chosen, why 8 or 10 wasn't chosen, but I'm sure time is money, and that would have involved a lot more money.
And the second part is, would the match tied 2-2? I mean 2.5 to 2.5. Why? It seemed that there was a tremendous amount of coverage about the fact there's a great deal of pressure on Kasparov to win this final match. What would have been the tragedy, not the tragedy, but certainly the great to-do about drawing against Deep Blue? Why couldn't he have played an opening that he knew, obviously a lot better than that, to draw the final game in order to?
Well, I think Gary took the pressure off of himself yesterday when he kind of said that everybody else is more concerned than he. I forget how he worded it, but he said he's just going to go and try to make good moves. But obviously, the pressure did get to him. He couldn't shed it that easily.
Well, I think the point is that at some point we're afraid that computers will do something that we think we're the only ones should be able to do. I mean, we're intelligent. We like to think of ourselves as intelligent, the superior being in the universe, so to speak, although we don't know what else is out there. And to think that there's something coming along that may someday do something that we do and go beyond just computing, but start to maybe intuit, to feel, to do these kind of things that's supposed to be uniquely human and put us in the central place in the universe. I think this is the big issue. And maybe we just defined the question incorrectly. And so everything else becomes this battle, becomes more magnified than it really ought to be. And I think this is what's happening for us, and maybe if we just accept that, look, it's just crunching numbers. It doesn't have a life. It doesn't have these thoughts and feelings. It would be all right, whatever it does.
I'd just like to add one last comment, and that is, I agree with you, sir. Gary should have chosen an opening that A, he was comfortable with, B, he didn't mind drawing, and C, yes, if the match had been a 3-3 result, kudos to both. You know, it's unresolved, and let's come again. So, yeah, that would have been a smart, wiser course of action. But at the end, Gary again said that somehow after this 5th game, he had put a lot of energy to win the game. He didn't do it, and he's nervous, he's tense. Again, I don't know what it was. Maybe he wasn't getting sleep the night before, but he clearly, after the game, didn't look like a guy that was really himself. He looked just shattered, quite frankly.
And showed human qualities. I mean, hey, that's part about being human, and we can only hope that he'll show another wonderful human quality of fortitude and bouncing back in the face of loss. And he said it already that he's going to rip this thing apart when he sees it again.
So, tear the thing apart.
Tear it apart. So that said, we have been here, and we'd like to thank you again. And the excitement is not over. Thank you very much on behalf of my esteemed colleagues. Thank you. Thank you.
So we lost our vacation. What happened to our people?